Before I start this, I want to say that the Gideon Bible did have an effect on my life. I'm here to talk about the transforming power of God through Jesus and what he did in my life. And I'm going to do my best to get through this without crying. That's probably not going to happen. Like I said, I'm here to talk about Jesus. But first, let me tell you a story about someone I knew a long time ago. His name was Guy Burns, same as mine. Growing up as a Navy brat, that provided a lot of great opportunities and experiences, but also a lot of great distractions. Lived from Puerto Rico to Iceland, and just about everywhere in between. At the age of 12, he became saved, but he didn't get baptized. Before he could finish that commitment, he got distracted by a lot of other things: music, sports, hunting, cars, trucks. A lot of distractions out there, and girls. Started hanging around with the wrong kids. As a teenager, he was drinking, smoking marijuana, and using other experimental drugs. Satan was a great tempter. He distracted this guy with earthly pleasures every chance he got. And Jesus reached out to him many times, but he didn't hear his call. He denied that call. After graduating from high school, he joined the Air Force. He married his high school sweetheart. And near the end of his enlistment, he went through a bitter, bitter divorce. I'm not even going to go into the details of that divorce, but it was devastating. And this left a huge void in his heart. So for the next 4 years, no matter what he did, he could not fill that hole. And he traveled across the country, met new people, went to nightclubs. He was drinking excessively. He was trying different drugs, cocaine, just pills. He tried dating different women. Nothing worked. Couldn't fill that hole. He finally spiraled out of control and ended up in jail for several years. Again, Jesus reached out to him, but he denied the call. Pride. When he made parole, he thought he'd learned his lesson and had his life in order. Came back home to Texas, came right back here to Goldthwaite. And, but again, he started drinking, hanging around with the wrong people. And after another personal tragedy and loss, which he lost his mother, he spiraled out of control again. He kept trying to fill that void in his heart. Now there was another void. Lost his mom. So Satan, the great tempter, led him to methamphetamine. And in a matter of months, he became addicted and lost everything. House, car, truck, boat. Sold the dog, lost everything buying the drugs. Ended up to support his habit, he turned to crime. He broke into a deer lease and stole some things, but he wasn't a very good criminal. He got caught immediately. And this time he was at the very bottom. You know, down there at the bottom of a pond, that mud, down there in the bottom of that, yeah, he was on down below that. He was all the way at the bottom. Landed right over here in the Mills County Jail, at the old jail. And he finally got on his knees. And he said, Jesus, I can't do this anymore. Everything he did, he made a mess out of it. Made a mess. He couldn't, he'd had enough. Everything he touched, he messed it up. Matthew 11, 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, because I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Well, the county sheriff took an interest in him, Darwin Odom. I don't know if y'all remember him or not. He took this young man to Church of Christ over here, and he got baptized. And when the pastor submerged him in that baptismal, that man died. And a new creature was born. In January 1997, when I came up out of that water, I was a new man. That huge void that was in my heart, it was filled. Jesus filled that heart with his Holy Spirit. I never looked back. The desire to drink was gone. The desire to do drugs was gone. I've been clean and sober for over 24 years. And that's by the grace of God. The only thing I did, I made the decision. When I made that choice, he took it all. Were there times was I still tempted? Of course. What did I do? Got on my knees and prayed. It was gone. The power of Jesus. I served 21 years in prison. 21 years. I served 7 right here in Texas. Then I had to go back to Virginia for a parole violation. I served 14 years on my parole violation. I stumbled a few times, to be sure, but I never lost my faith. I never stumbled in my belief. He brought me through many struggles in those 21 years. I'd have never survived on my own. There is unspeakable prison violence, and we're not even going to go there, but it's unspeakable. There are riots, all of this. But even in prison, Jesus is Lord. It's like having a cloak of protection. Here in Texas, if you are walking in your faith in prison, okay, all of the prison gangs, all of the ones who are trying to coerce you into paying protection money or trying to beat you into servitude or any of that kind of stuff, if you are walking in your faith, they leave you alone. That's the power of Jesus, okay? I served 21 years and did not get a scratch on me. That's the power of Jesus, okay? Did I have to stand up? Yes, I had to stand up. Did I have to defend myself? I said, yeah, I'm going to defend myself, but let me tell you now, I don't want to go against what Jesus has in my heart, so, and they were like, okay, and that was it. The power of Jesus. When I went to Virginia on my parole violation in April 2004, I had a heart attack playing softball. If it wasn't for an ambulance and a helicopter, I wouldn't be standing here. I was ready to go. I'm in the back of that ambulance, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I've already served all this time, and I don't know how much more time I have to serve. I'm ready to go. And he said, no, I'm not through with you. It wasn't long, I was transferred to a minimum security prison. It's a farm way up in the mountains of Virginia. And there was a music program there, unlike any other in the entire state. And I joined a bluegrass band there. In prison, they have a bluegrass band in Chesterbury. They have a bluegrass band there. Chesterbury came up to the courthouse the other day, a month ago, He said, "Where'd you learn how to play all those instruments?" And I said, "Well, I was in a prison up in Virginia in the mountains." And he smiled, and he was waiting for me to finish the punchline. And he said, "Well, how about that?" Bless your heart. That's where I learned to play. And God put me there. He opened doors that are supposed to be opened and closed the ones that weren't. I also had many opportunities to play and sing in church. And once God convinced me that I needed to serve, then I became a member of the praise and worship band in prison. And also gave my first testimony in front of about 80 inmates. That was a tough crowd. But John 12:26. Whoever serves me must follow me. And where I am, my servant also will be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. I made a parole less than a year later, and God continued to bless me. What a wonderful community this is. What a wonderful, forgiving community. God lives here. His Spirit is so strong here. And God blessed me with something I'd never had before, a Christian wife. When somebody asks me how I'm doing, I say, yeah, I'm blessed way more than I should be. Have you seen my wife? I can't say enough about the blessings that just keep coming. And I feel closest to God when I'm singing and praising. That's my connection with Him. So music was the big draw when I heard about the Cowboy Church. Everybody said, "Hey, man, the music's really good," you know. And so I came up here. And that first Sunday, when Sandy and Kyla and Melissa, they were up here singing, and my gosh, the tears came. I had goosebumps on me, and I said, "Oh, I'm home. This is it. This is my church home." And I attended services a few times. Then I came to Russ, and I talked to him because I wanted to be open and honest about my relations, about my past. And I told Russ my story. And he just looked at me with a blank look for a second, and he said, "Jesus brought you here today," because it was after the service. He said, "Just that morning, Mark came to him and said, 'Hey, I'm going on the road driving a truck, so y'all need to find a bass player to fill in for me.'" I play bass. That's my primary instrument. And Russ welcomed me. This church has welcomed me. And I can't say how important it is to have this church family. This is my support group. I hold myself accountable to first of all, I hold myself accountable to Jesus, who's in my heart, okay? That's my first thing. I have to look in the mirror every morning. I hold myself accountable to my wife. I hold myself accountable to my peers. You know who you are. And I hold myself accountable to this church family. I get to serve with my wife. How many people get to do that? How many people get to do that? Other churches have asked us to come and play and sing and give my testimony also. I'm not complete. I don't feel complete unless I'm serving God, okay? And if God can take someone as flawed, and I'm still flawed. I'm flawed. Ask Gail. If He can take me and use me, then He can use anybody to serve. Everybody has a place. How can I do anything less? After all Jesus has done for me, how can I do anything less but serve Him? Russ said in one of his sermons, if He never does another thing for me, He's done enough. He saved me. Salvation. That's how best to thank Jesus for salvation, by serving him. In Luke 15, Jesus taught about the lost sheep, the one lost sheep out of the 100, the rejoicing in heaven over one repentant sinner, and the prodigal son. I'm so familiar with all three of these stories. I'm a shining example. And I'd like to say that Jesus is alive and well. He is alive. He lives in us. He paid the ultimate price so people like me can be saved. Okay? If he can save me, he can save anyone. I'm so grateful that I get another chance. I'm going to finish the race before me. I've got a slow start, but I'm going to finish this race. I'm going to cross the finish line. Psalm 40, 1 through 4. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Blessed is the man who makes the Lord his trust, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. My hope is that my story about the transforming power of God through Jesus will inspire others to turn to him when they lose hope. John 14:16. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I'd like to sing a song with my wife. Check, check, check. Am I there? All right. I know we did all country and hymns this morning. I'm going to have to throw a contemporary at you a little bit here. I've been held by the Savior. I've felt fire from above. I've been down to the river. I ain't the same, a prodigal return. All my hope is in Jesus. Well, thank God that yesterday's gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. I'm no stranger to the prison. I've worn shackles and chains, but I've been freed and forgiven. Well, I'm not going back. I'll never be the same. That's why I sing, all my hope is in Jesus. There's the kind of thing that just breaks a man. Break him down to his knees. God, I've been broken more than a time or two. Then he picked me up and showed me what it means to be a man. Come on and sing, all my hope is in Jesus. Well, thank God my yesterday's gone. All my sins are forgiven. I've been washed by the blood. Come on and sing, all my hope is in Jesus. Well, thank God my yesterday's gone. All my sins are forgiven. Yes, I've been washed by the blood.